When Samuel L. Jackson was turned away from a small-town diner because of his celebrity status and outspoken views, he could have taken to social media in anger, called for a boycott, or simply walked out fuming. Instead, he did something no one expected. He responded with kindness, so unexpectedly that it transformed not just one restaurant, but an entire community. A rainy evening at Maple Creek Diner. On a rainy evening, Samuel pulled his black SUV into the gravel lot of Maple Creek Diner. The neon open sign buzzed above the door, casting a red glow on puddles from the afternoon downpour. He hadn't eaten since breakfast, and his stomach growled as he stepped inside. The bell jingled. The air smelled of fresh coffee and sizzling bacon. Country tunes played softly overhead, and 6 tables of locals chatted over dinner. A young waitress with curly brown hair and a ponytail smiled as she balanced plates. Her name tag read Talia. "Sit anywhere you like," she called. Samuel chose a small booth by the window and studied the menu. Today's special, meatloaf with mashed potatoes, reminded him of his grandmother's cooking on cold nights. Talia returned with a glass of water. "Welcome to Maple Creek. Can I start you with coffee?" "That'd be great, thanks," Samuel replied. As Talia turned to fill his order at the coffee station, Melissa, the owner, stepped from the kitchen. An apron bearing her name covered her. When she saw Samuel, her face tightened. "Talia," Melissa called sharply, "come here for a minute." Talia hesitated but set down her notepad and walked over. The two whispered near the cash register. Talia's eyes widened as she glanced back at Samuel. Nearby diners fell silent, sensing tension. Melissa pulled herself straight and strode to Samuel's table, Talia trailing behind. "I'm sorry, but I cannot serve you here," she said, her voice tight. Samuel looked up, surprised. "Excuse me?" "I know who you are, Mr. Jackson," Melissa said, folding her arms. "I don't agree with your activism, and I'm not comfortable having a Hollywood star, especially one so vocal, eat here. This is my restaurant, and I decide who comes in." The diner went silent. Samuel felt his cheeks flush but kept his voice even. "I understand," he said quietly, folding the menu. "It's your business, your choice. Thank you for your honesty. Have a good evening." He stood and walked toward the door as every eye followed him. The bell jingled and he stepped out into the cool night. Back in his SUV, Samuel sat for a moment with hands on the wheel. His stomach still rumbled, but now he carried a weight in his chest. He wasn't new to rejection. His career had been built on facing tough moments and moving forward. Through the windshield, he watched Melissa speaking quietly with customers. Some nodded, others looked uneasy. Talia stood by the coffee pot, staring at the floor. Samuel reached for his phone and scrolled through contacts. He dialed a number he'd saved. 3 rings later, a familiar voice answered. "Hey, it's Sam. Remember that place I mentioned? I think I've found our next spot." He glanced back at the diner's warm lights. "Tomorrow works. Text me the address. Trust me, this will surprise everyone." He hung up, shifted into drive, and pulled away. The radio crackled into an old Johnny Cash song. He felt neither anger nor bitterness. He felt something else, something like hope. Talia's worry. Talia watched Samuel's SUV disappear down the road. The diner resumed its routine, but she couldn't shake the knot in her stomach. "Can you believe it?" Melissa said, stepping beside Talia. "He just walked away. No fight. Did we have to do that?" "He came for dinner," Talia said softly, forcing a smile as she greeted a family of 4 who had just entered. The bell jingled, and she handed them menus, though her mind kept returning to Samuel's composed expression. He hadn't been furious. He'd been calm. After her shift, Talia climbed 3 flights of stairs to her apartment. The broken elevator had been fixed next week for months. Her feet ached. It was nearly midnight. She quietly opened the door, a small lamp clicking on. Her grandmother, Eliza Reynolds, sat in a faded blue armchair, a crocheted blanket over her legs. Her silver hair was tied in a loose braid. "You're late," Eliza said gently. "Sorry, Grandma, I had to help with inventory," Talia replied, dropping her purse on the counter. "Why are you still up? Did you take your medicine?" Eliza asked, but waved away the question. Talia sank into the couch beside her. "Something happened at the diner," she said. She told Eliza how Samuel had been refused service. Eliza frowned. "And he just took it and left?" He said, "I understand. Thank you for your honesty," then left. Talia heaved a sigh. "I felt awful, like we did something wrong." "Maybe you did," Eliza said quietly. Talia blinked. Her grandmother rarely criticized anyone. "Melissa has her reasons, I'm sure. But turning someone away because you disagree, that's not how I raised you." "What was I supposed to do? Melissa's the boss. I need this job." Talia's voice cracked. "Your medicine cost so much and rent went up again." Eliza reached for Talia's hand. "Don't worry about me. We've been through worse." Talia thought of her grandmother's heart condition. Without insurance, her medication was a huge expense. This job was their lifeline. "Melissa seemed upset," Talia said. "The diner's in trouble. She said if business doesn't pick up, she might cut hours." Eliza glanced at the stack of bills on her chair's side table. "What do you think Sam will do? Will he tell people not to eat here?" "Who knows? People surprise you. I just hope he doesn't make trouble. Melissa's stubborn but not unkind. Her family's been through a lot." Eliza looked out the window at the flickering streetlight. Everyone has a story. Everyone has reasons for their actions. Sometimes kindest people are those who've known the most pain. Talia wasn't sure if Eliza meant Melissa or Samuel or someone else. Her grandmother often spoke in riddles. "I should get to bed, morning shift tomorrow." Talia stood and kissed Eliza's cheek. "Rest well," Eliza said. "And remember, be kind. That's all that matters." Talia paused at the door. "Do you know something I don't?" Eliza smiled faintly. "Just old thoughts. Go to sleep." Talia helped her grandmother into bed, set out water and pills, then returned to her room. As she lay down, Samuel's words echoed in her mind. "Thank you for your honesty." Strange words from someone who had been refused service. She closed her eyes, wondering what would happen next. A morning of surprises. Talia's alarm buzzed at 5:30 a.m. She shut it off, groaned, and showered quickly. She peeked at Eliza, still sleeping soundly, and left a note. "Lunch in the fridge. Love you." The air was crisp as Talia zipped up her jacket and hurried down Main Street. Pink and gold streaks painted the clouds as the sun rose. Rounding the corner to the diner, she stopped cold. A crowd of 30 people stood outside. Her heart sank. Protesters? Yet no one held signs. They just waited, coffee in hand. "Excuse me," Talia called, pushing toward the front. "I work here. What's going on?" A woman in a red coat smiled. "We're waiting for you to open. Is it true Sam Jackson recommended this place?" Talia's jaw dropped. What? No, that's not. He did?" "I saw his post," a man nearby added. "He said it has the best home cooking in the county." Before Talia could protest, a news van pulled up. A reporter with a microphone leaped out. "Do you work here? I'm Camden Walsh from Channel 8. Can we get a statement about the viral post?" "I don't know what you're talking about," Talia stammered, fumbling for her keys. "Must open, just a quick interview, please." "Sorry, can't be late," Camden pressed. Talia slipped inside, locked the door behind her, and switched on the lights. Fluorescent bulbs buzzed to life, banishing the pre-dawn gloom. She hung her jacket and tied on her apron, trying to make sense of a crowd she never invited. She checked her phone, 3 missed calls from Melissa, when the back door flew open. "Talia!" "Thank goodness," Melissa said breathlessly, hair loose, eyes wide. "Have you seen outside? They say Sam Jackson recommended us online. It's insane." Melissa thrust her phone toward Talia. On the screen was Samuel L. Jackson's post, a photo of Maple Creek Diner's charming blue awning. The caption read, "I was turned away from this little gem in Oakwood last night because the owner didn't agree with my activism. Respect her right, but trust me, her meatloaf special smells amazing." And everyone inside looked happy. Small businesses are the heart of America, even when they don't want my star power. If you're nearby, give Maple Creek Diner a try. Support local, always. Talia stared at Melissa. "He's sending people here after you kicked him out? That doesn't make sense." Melissa snorted. "Is it a trick? Is he making me look bad?" "That doesn't sound like a trick," Talia said. "It sounds like forgiveness." "No one's that forgiving, especially celebrities," Melissa said, doubt creeping into her tone. The front door rattled as Camden pounded for entry, camera ready. "We're not open yet," Melissa called, voice shaking. "I just want a quick comment," Camden demanded. "Viral?" Melissa echoed, pale. "We better start cooking," Talia said, grabbing the coffee pot. "Everyone out there will want breakfast." They sprang into action. Melissa called Danny to come in early. They brewed extra coffee and mixed double batches of pancake batter. Talia turned on all 4 grills. At exactly 6:30 a.m., Melissa unlocked the front door. Diners poured in, filling every seat. Camden sat up in a corner. "Just one statement," Camden begged. "What's your response to Sam Jackson?" "No comment unless you're ordering breakfast," Melissa said firmly. Camden sighed. "Fine, pancakes then." By 7 a.m., they had a waiting list. Melissa even called in part-time cook Hector. The kitchen buzzed as Talia dashed between tables, refilling coffee. Every time the bell jingled, Talia looked up, half expecting to see Samuel walk in. During a rare lull, she found Melissa by the window, watching the hungry crowd. "We'll run out of food," Melissa whispered. "I've never seen it this busy, not even on Christmas." "Isn't that good?" Talia asked. "Why would he do this?" Melissa said, uneasy. "I insulted him. I threw him out. Maybe he's just being nice." "No one's that nice," Melissa repeated, though her voice wavered. The door jingled again. An elderly couple entered, looking around in awe. "Is this where that nice Sam Jackson got turned away?" the woman asked, loud enough for all to hear. "He said we should come support you anyway. Aren't you glad?" Melissa's cheeks warmed. She nodded and led them to a table. Talia watched her boss all morning. Melissa forced smiles each time Sam's name popped up. By noon, news vans from 3 stations lined the street. Maple Creek Diner, once nearly empty, had become the busiest spot in the county thanks to the same man it refused. After lunch, Melissa retreated to her office, door closed. 10 minutes later, Talia brought her a coffee. Melissa sat at her desk, tears sliding down her cheeks. "I don't understand," Melissa whispered. "Why didn't he retaliate?" Talia hesitated. "Maybe he's just a kind person." Melissa shook her head. "No one's that kind, especially the movie stars." She wiped her eyes. "But I guess we have to get ready for dinner service." Her posture stiffened, as if bracing for another wave. For the next few days, the diner remained packed. Supplies ran low, so Melissa made extra orders. She hired 2 new waitresses and another cook. The cash register rang constantly, forcing midday bank trips. On Friday afternoon, Talia overheard 2 regulars talking during a lull. "He's setting a trap, I'm telling you," a man in overalls said. "Everyone's just waiting for her to mess up." "I don't think so," his friend countered. "My cousin says Sam's actually pretty decent." Maybe he means what he said about supporting local. Stars don't usually do that. No idea. Some think he's genuine, others suspect publicity stunt. Talia moved on, but she heard the doubt in every voice. That night, she fell asleep thinking of the diner's journey, Samuel's calm face, and her grandmother's words. The next morning, Talia arrived early. The crowd was smaller but still impressive. Inside, Melissa was already cooking. "You're up early?" Talia said, tying on her apron. "Couldn't sleep," Melissa admitted, flipping pancakes. "The bank called, I applied for a loan last month, and suddenly I'm a good risk. 1 week of good business, and I'm a star." Melissa paused mid-flip. "Is that good? I kicked him out. Then he gave me more business than I've had in years. What does that make me?" Talia hesitated. "Doesn't make you anything but a business owner who got lucky." Melissa nodded but returned to cooking, looking haunted. On Wednesday, Melissa called a staff meeting before opening. Everyone assembled around the pushed-together tables. Talia, Danny, the new waitresses, Hector, and even Mr. Jenkins, who washed dishes on weekends. "I have news," Melissa began once the coffee settled. "Business has improved since Samuel Jackson's post, but we've still struggled financially. Last month, I applied for a small business loan to renovate the kitchen and expand. I was turned down. Our profit margins were too low." A hush fell. Staff exchanged worried glances. "But something changed," Melissa continued, holding up a crisp white envelope. Talia's pulse quickened. "After our dinner last week, Samuel told a friend, someone who runs an investment fund for struggling communities, about Maple Creek Diner. Even after I turned him away, he recommended us. Yesterday, I got an offer. They want to invest enough to renovate our kitchen, open the adjacent storefront, and add a proper waiting area. No more diners standing in the rain. Talia felt breathless. The once vacant storefront could double their seating. "Wait, what's the catch?" Danny asked. Melissa shook her head. "There is none. I keep full ownership and make all decisions. The only requirements, 5 new jobs and health insurance for all full-time staff." Excitement rippled through the staff. Health insurance had been their dream for years. "So Sam told you this Friday night?" Talia asked. "Yes," Melissa confirmed. "He wanted me to know privately. No strings attached. He won't be involved directly. He just connected us to the fund." Hector, who rarely spoke, raised his hand. "Why would he do that after you turned him away?" Melissa paused, then smiled faintly. "He said it's what my grandmother would have done." Talia thought of her grandmother's stories. Tough, protective, believing in second chances. Suddenly, Sam's generosity made sense. "What if we accept?" Talia asked. "When do renovations start?" "Next month," Melissa explained. "We'll stay mostly open, but might close a week during major equipment installation. It means more work, maybe new managers and shifts, but also more hours and better conditions." The staff exchanged eager looks. Melissa added, "I haven't said yes yet. I wanted you all to hear it first. This changes your lives too." "Say yes," Danny exclaimed. "This is what we've been hoping for." Others nodded, excitement lighting their faces. "I'm still processing," Melissa admitted. "Part of me feels guilty accepting help from Sam, after how I treated him." Talia considered. "Maybe good can come from unexpected places. You didn't refuse him because you hate him personally, you feared for your livelihood. Now this helps all of us. Sometimes kindness begets kindness." Melissa looked around at hopeful faces. "You're right, I've overthought it. I'm going to accept." Cheers erupted. Danny hugged Hector. Even Mr. Jenkins smiled widely. Melissa raised a hand. "One more thing. Our door policy changes. From now on, Maple Creek Diner serves everyone. No exceptions. We may disagree, but we don't turn away hungry people. That's who we are." Talia felt proud. The journey from that first night to this moment had been remarkable. As they opened for the day, Talia found Melissa staring at the empty storefront next door. "Can you believe it?" Melissa whispered. "A month ago, I worried about the electric bill. Now I'm planning an expansion." "That's amazing," Talia said. "Have you told your mom?" She remembered Melissa's father had passed away. "I visited her last night. I told her everything. She reminded me Dad said businesses should bring communities together, not drive them apart. He'd approve of this, politics aside." Talia nodded. "There's one more thing Sam told me. He was in town looking for businesses worth supporting. He'd had Maple Creek on his radar." "Really? Why here?" Melissa asked. "Because we're an overlooked town. Too small for big investors, too large to be quaint tourist spots. He said places like ours need support most." As Talia filled salt shakers for the morning rush, she thought of that. Sam Jackson saw potential in Maple Creek long before the diner incident. Maybe he would have helped anyway. Or maybe, as Eliza said, life is full of circles and sometimes they connect in ways no one predicts. 6 months later, winter melted into spring and spring into summer. Maple Creek Diner closed for 8 days in April while the kitchen was gutted and rebuilt with gleaming new equipment. Melissa fretted, calling contractors daily. When the diner reopened, the transformation was dramatic. The wall to the adjacent storefront was removed, nearly doubling seating. The counter extended elegantly into new space. Large windows bathed the interior in sunlight. Yet some things remain. Blue and white checkered curtains, a community bulletin board of children's drawings, and Melissa brewing the coffee each morning. No one else got it just right. Talia no longer wore a waitress uniform. As assistant manager, she had a small office corner, just a desk, but she was proud of its presence. The promotion came with a raise and, more importantly, health insurance covering Eliza's heart medication. One warm July morning, Talia arrived early to check a delivery. The bell jingled as Samuel L. Jackson entered, carrying his leather briefcase. "Good morning," he greeted, smiling. "Is the window table open?" His usual seat. "All yours," Talia said, returning his grin. "Coffee?" "Please," Sam replied, setting down his briefcase. "I've got work to do." "Melissa's in a staff meeting, but she'll be out soon. No rush," Talia said. Over recent months, Melissa hired 3 new waitresses and 2 cooks, some from the local recovery center. She'd partnered with the Bybate Advice program to offer second chances. By the time Melissa emerged, the morning rush buzzed around them. Laughter, conversation, clinking silverware. She paused beside Sam's table. "The usual?" she asked. "You know me too well," Sam said, their rapport now friendly, effortless. Talia had overheard spirited but respectful debates between them about policies. As she moved between tables, refilling coffee, she heard 2 builders discussing a new factory breaking ground on the edge of town, teachers planning the back-to-school fair, and a young couple celebrating their approved mortgage. The town's mood had shifted since winter, a sense of possibility. Maple Creek Diner wasn't the only place transformed. The fund Sam recommended had invested in 6 other local businesses. The hardware store reopened with a modern tool rental section. The old movie theater was under renovation. A vacant downtown lot became a business incubator. During a lull, Talia refilled Sam's coffee. "How's your grandmother?" he asked. "Her doctor says her heart is stronger than ever." "Good to hear. My offer still stands if she wants to record memories of my grandmother." "My family would treasure that," Sam said warmly. Talia nodded. "I'll remind her." As she began to walk away, he added, "By the way, that college scholarship program we discussed? It's happening. Applications open this fall. Don't forget to apply." Talia's face lit up. "Really? That's wonderful. Thank you, truly." Later, as the lunch crowd thinned, Talia spotted Eliza knitting at her usual table near the window. She was a fixture, visiting a few times each week, chatting with regulars. Talia joined her. "I was just thinking about how much has changed," Talia admitted. "Not just the diner, but the whole town. Because of one moment that could have gone different ways." Eliza nodded. "Life turns on small moments, dear. The choices we make when we're hurt or angry can lead us down all kinds of paths." They watched Sam cross the dining room to say goodbye to Melissa and step outside. On his way out, he greeted a few regular customers. He'd become a familiar face in Maple Creek, not as a celebrity, but as a person. "Do you know what I think is the most shocking thing Sam did?" Eliza asked, eyes twinkling. "What's that?" "She showed that people with different views can still treat each other with dignity and find common ground." Eliza's hands stilled on her knitting. "In times like these, that's nothing short of revolutionary." Talia considered her grandmother's words as she watched Sam drive away. The most surprising thing hadn't been the viral post or the investment. It hadn't even been his forgiveness of Melissa's rejection. It was the bridge he built, a way for people to walk toward each other instead of turning away. A simple decision that changed everything. As Talia returned to her duties, she realized that maybe that was the lesson. Bridges can be built by anyone, anywhere, with nothing more than choosing to respond to rejection with kindness. In a world so easily divided, perhaps that was the most shocking revelation of all. And that's the end of our story about how Samuel L. Jackson learned a valuable lesson from a small-town diner. In this video, you witnessed those unforgettable moments when rejection turned into a bridge rather than anger. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications. That way, you'll be notified as soon as our next video is uploaded. In the comments, share a moment when you encountered an act of kindness or performed such an act yourself. Maybe together we'll discover new stories that touch even more hearts. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.